Hey guys, today we're going to be going through some self-talk techniques that can be utilized in-game. First, we're going to cover instructional self-talk and give some examples, and then we're going to move on towards negative thought stoppage and how this can be utilized in-game. Alright, so starting with instructional self-talk. This technique can be used to improve our fine motor control, which means our mechanical skill. Let's have a look at an opening rotation and how I can use the technique. During my opener, I know I'm going to start the rotation by pressing Shift A for Shadow Blades, then I'm going to press mouse button 2 for Cheap Shot, followed by number 2 for Rupture, followed by Q for Shadow Dance, immediately followed by mouse wheel up and then down for Cold Blood and Symbols of Death, mouse button 1 for Shadow Strike, followed by V for a Kidney Shot. This is then followed by Shift D Reaping Flames, then Shift S to use Marked for Death, and then lastly finishing with number 3 for Eviscerate. So with that in mind, whilst I'm preparing for my opener, I can recite my opener, either by keystroke or ability name, and I can also recite this to myself while I'm performing the opener itself. Alright, so let's have a look at what that rotation looks like. So I know I'm going to be starting with Shadow Blades, Cheap Shot, Garrote, Dance, Cold Blood, Symbols, 1 Shadow Strike into a Kidney Shot, followed by Flame, Marked for Death, and Eviscerate. That's the rotation. I hope from that example you can see how I was able to incorporate instructional self-talk into my game practice so that I am better able to remember and execute my opening rotation. The research has been done in traditional sports and found that these types of drill-specific self-talk techniques have a significant positive effect on performance. The second self-talk technique we are going to be learning is negative thought stoppage. The idea of this technique is to give you the ability to remove negative thoughts or feelings which you're experiencing whilst playing and replace these with a helpful task-oriented cue. Again, researchers found this technique to be beneficial to athletes, allowing them the ability to increase self-confidence, reduce performance anxiety, and improve task performance. Alright, let's have a look at a recording of a 2v2 gameplay that I'm in, and I'm going to walk through some of the emotions or thoughts that I may have been feeling or could quite easily feel in that situation, and then how I can implement negative thought stoppage to alleviate these negative feelings and instead replace them with a task-oriented cue to perform better in that situation. So very early on in this game, the enemy team already has the upper hand. My teammate is already quite low on health, and I'm being crowd controlled quite severely here. It's easy to kind of start getting frustrated and be angry at the other players or think that your teammate is not doing enough. Instead of these unhelpful thoughts, what I can do in this situation is think to myself, alright, start planning my next move. What am I going to do once I'm free of CC? If my teammate survives, how can I get back to them and assist them so that they're not going to die? And how can we try and turn this game around? And so here I am finally clear of the crowd control and it's our time to fight back. So because I wasn't thinking negatively, I had a plan of action. I was going to go and try and crowd control their rogue and then get back on that hunter and try and finish the kill, which we do successfully do. Now we aren't in the clear just yet because my teammate and I are still below 50% health and there is an enemy with 100% health. Unfortunately, my teammate does actually go down and then I get swapped onto and I'm quite low health and the enemy is still around 67% health. So this is another situation where it'd be quite easy to, start getting a little bit anxious and think, what's the point of playing? We're going to lose this game. But instead, again, we go back to that restructuring of thought, clearing those negative thoughts and replacing with a task-oriented cue. Think about rotations, how you can try and get this situation to be one that is favorable for you and that you can win the game in. And when it was all said and done, we did come away with the victory.